Welcome to a beautiful, historic university where profound knowledge flows freely. Today we meet Professor Arthur, a truly wise teacher with an unforgettable lesson. Inside his grand, quiet lecture hall, the morning sunlight warmed the empty wooden desks. It was the perfect atmosphere for a very special class. Professor Arthur walked slowly and confidently into the room. He had taught psychology here for many decades, changing countless young lives forever. He placed his old, heavy leather briefcase on the large desk. He pulled out his books, fully preparing to challenge his students' minds today. The heavy doors finally opened. Adult students from all over the world walked in. They were incredibly eager to learn from the wise professor. The students quietly found their wooden seats. They quickly opened their clean notebooks, grabbing their pens, completely ready to absorb the day's important knowledge. Professor Arthur did something highly unusual. He slowly poured a stream of fresh, sparkling water from a tall pitcher directly into a clear glass. The glass was exactly half full. The bright sunlight caught the water beautifully, making it glow softly in the perfectly quiet, peaceful academic room. He picked up the cool glass of water carefully. With slow, steady steps, he walked directly to the very center of the large stage. He simply stood there in total silence. He held the clear glass of water up high in the air, ensuring every single student saw it. All the talking immediately stopped. The students stared incredibly intently at the simple glass. They were highly curious about his strange, sudden, silent behavior. Professor Arthur smiled very warmly. He looked deeply into the crowd and gently asked, "How heavy is this glass of water I am holding?" The class was totally surprised. A young student in the front tilted her head, completely confused. This was definitely not a normal psychology question. Slowly, the students began to whisper softly to one another. They were seriously trying to guess the exact mathematical weight of the water glass. A confident male student excitedly raised his hand high into the air. He was absolutely sure he knew the perfect, logical answer to the puzzle. The professor nodded kindly at him. "Go ahead, tell us your answer," he said gently, encouraging the young man to speak loudly and clearly. 8 ounces, the boy shouted. Another student quickly raised her hand. "No, it must be 12 ounces, she argued loudly. "Maybe even 16 ounces. The wise professor kept his hand perfectly steady. He continued to hold the glowing glass straight up in the air as they loudly debated. The entire room buzzed with massive, lively energy. Everyone was excitedly shouting out different numbers, desperately trying to be the smartest person in the room. Professor Arthur chuckled softly at their great enthusiasm. He lowered the glass just slightly, holding his other hand up to quietly calm the noisy room. Absolute silence returned quickly. "You are all completely wrong," he said softly, shaking his silver head. "The absolute weight of this glass doesn't matter." He pointed a finger at the clear water. "The true, real weight of this glass depends entirely on exactly how long I hold it." The students looked deeply fascinated. Pens hit the paper as they quickly started writing down his profound, completely unexpected, and brilliant philosophical words. "If I hold this simple glass for exactly 1 minute," Professor Arthur explained, extending his strong arm straight out, "it feels incredibly light." He looked totally calm and comfortable. "For 1 minute, it is absolutely not a problem at all. Anyone can easily do this without struggling." Time passed quickly. A minute is a very short period. The body is highly resilient, capable of holding small burdens briefly without any pain. The professor smiled brightly at them all. "See? 1 minute has passed, and I feel absolutely no pain, no stress, and completely no discomfort." He gestured toward the quiet students. "But what exactly happens if I hold this exact same glass straight out for one full, long hour?" A student answered quietly, "Your arm would probably start to ache, sir." The professor nodded strongly. "Exactly, it would hurt a lot." The atmosphere in the grand room shifted. The professor's expression became much more serious. The vital lesson was about to become deeply, highly intense. Imagine holding it for one entire hour. The arm muscles begin to burn deeply. The completely light glass suddenly feels incredibly, overwhelmingly heavy. If you hold it too long, your arm physically begins to shake. It trembles under the relentless, continuous pressure of a simple, tiny weight. Heavy sweat forms. Mild discomfort quickly turns into severe, sharp pain. The body begs you loudly to simply put the heavy, painful glass down. The students leaned forward in their seats, totally captivated. They could vividly imagine the intense, growing pain spreading through the professor's tired, shaking arm. "Now," the professor said softly, his voice echoing, "what if I forced myself to hold this glass for a whole, entire 24 hours? The room was dead silent. If I held it for a full day, my arm would become completely numb, entirely paralyzed with extreme agony. 24 hours of constant, unending tension. The small weight never physically changes, but the severe, terrible damage to the human body increases immensely. The muscles lock up entirely. The pain becomes totally unbearable. The body fundamentally shuts down because it cannot sustain the constant, heavy pressure indefinitely. Eventually," Professor Arthur whispered, "I would be completely forced to drop the heavy glass onto the hard floor, shattering it into a million pieces." The terrifying image of the glass crashing down flashed vividly in the students' minds. They deeply understood the severe physical consequences of holding on. Professor Arthur smiled gently, breaking the heavy tension in the grand room. He brought his extended arm safely back close to his chest. The students let out a collective sigh of huge relief. They were incredibly glad the beloved professor was absolutely safe and not in pain. He turned around slowly, walked straight back to his wooden desk, and firmly, safely placed the glass of water entirely down on the table. He looked deeply into the eyes of his young students. The exact same principle applies entirely to the heavy stresses and deep worries of life. Your daily worries, your deep fears, your past regrets, they are exactly like this simple, ordinary glass of water, he explained incredibly softly. Think about your heavy problems for a few short minutes, and nothing happens. It is completely normal. It is totally healthy and absolutely fine. But think about those exact same problems for a whole entire day, and you will quickly feel paralyzed. You will be incapable of doing anything. Learning a deeply complex language like English can truly be highly stressful. You constantly worry heavily about your terrible grammar and totally embarrassing mistakes. If you carry that heavy, dark fear of failure every single second of the long day, it becomes a massive boulder on your back. It completely crushes your spirit. It kills your wonderful motivation. You totally paralyze your own mind by deeply holding on to the fear forever. Professor Arthur boldly wrote 3 massive words on the chalkboard. Let it go. You must actively choose to rest your exhausted, tired mind. As early as possible in the evening, you must consciously put all your heavy burdens completely down. Do not carry them into the dark night. Allow your precious mind to fully heal. Allow yourself to boldly make mistakes without massive guilt. Put the heavy glass down to find peace. He looked out the beautiful, sunny window. Tomorrow, you can gently pick it up again if you need to, but you must rest today. If you learn to constantly drop your heavy stresses, you will finally find that your mind is incredibly strong, beautifully capable, and wonderfully free. The students nodded in profound, deep understanding. A massive, heavy weight had been entirely lifted off their own stressed, tired shoulders in that exact moment. The clear glass of water sat perfectly still on the large desk. It was no longer a heavy burden, but a beautiful, peaceful teacher. Remember this important lesson always. Whenever you feel deeply overwhelmed by your massive studies or your daily life, stop exactly what you are doing. Take a very deep, calming breath. Forgive your own past mistakes instantly. Release the heavy tension and gently put your heavy glass down immediately. Thank you so much for deeply listening today. Remember to always put your glass down, rest your mind, and quickly subscribe for more inspiring stories.